What's up, y'all? It's the girl Stacey Intuitive back with another video. So I've already got the POW logo in here. I feel very close to the camera, but nonetheless, it's all good. I already cleansed my cards. I did my little prayer. We'll just do like a quick little refresh prayer before we start, but I just want to get into it. I don't have like any downloads really coming through with this message right now, so we're just gonna go with it. Okay, we're showing up for ourselves, and that might be a part of the message itself today. We are choosing to show up for ourselves and realizing that showing up for yourself is a choice. So we're doing it. So yes, thank you, Creator God, my wonderful creator, prime source of everything, ancestors, guardian angels, spirit guides, spirit animals, nature spirits, and other beings of benevolence on my team created by our wonderful God. For just connecting me with the collective right now, allowing me to communicate messages for their highest and greatest good, allowing me to step into mission this way, protect us all, keep us all safe, and continue guiding us in the direction that you intend. Thank you. Alrighty, guys, let's get into it. We got some flippers. This deck, I just cleansed it. I haven't cleansed it in a while. If I can, I can feel how much lighter it is. Because I mean, I don't use this deck often. Sometimes I'll go into my other decks, but I really just focus on, like, the Kipper and the Rider-Waite sometimes, like, for my, you know, if I'm pulling cards regularly. So I won't cleanse them as much, but, you know, still, I do like light cleansings, just nothing like fully pulling out the sage. So let's see what comes through for us. Okay. So we got the flexible card, we got building blocks, peace, and a change in the wind. So flexible and building blocks, what this is telling me right off the bat is that we are learning flexibility. This flexibility that you learn at this time due to the ever-changing nature of things that are happening around you, the unexpected nature of the things that are changing around you, are building the foundations of where you're supposed to go. Your ability to navigate through this present moment circumstance is directly correlated to your ability to build the stable foundations necessary. Your ability to maintain this sense of peace amongst this change in the wind, these energies that are just like changing, like you can't expect them, you can't really, like, it's kind of like you're veiled in a little bit of fog right now, and things are just very unpredictable. Sometimes in life, there's an ebb and a flow. So there are times when things are predictable, you can expect what's going to happen, but I feel like that what's really being highlighted, there's this energy of total unpredictability hitting you, and a lot of you guys might have in the past had discomfort with change. This has been like a huge thing for me lately, this idea of discomfort with change. So I'm not surprised that it's coming through, as what I'm learning can be supportive, but there's this energy of like not being comfortable with change, specifically due to this energy of being inflexible and feeling like your foundations get shattered when unexpected things happen. At this time, you're being prompted to continue building, to continue standing tall, and maintain this sense of flexibility. Things are not falling and crumbling down. Instead, they're just shifting and changing. They're innovating. They're creating new things. Peace can still be in your life amongst these changes. And I feel like this energy is coming through too, where maybe you guys had experienced like this huge chaos energy in your past. And the period of chaos that you went through, I feel like is really, if you're looking in retrospect, it can give you this understanding of how your lack of flexibility created and creates chaos in your life. It's like you expand upon the changes in a destructive way. So say that something comes in totally unexpected. We got the Hermit. I'm just gonna shuffle, but I'm gonna keep talking. Say that something came in completely unexpectedly, like, I don't know, I don't want to give an example because I don't want to put an energy here, but like just something unexpected, maybe that shook your foundation a little bit. There's this energy to expand upon that, to expand the fact that it has shaken you and get very caught up in the change in a negative way, rather than being flexible and keeping your eyes and your mind, your body, spirit focused on where you're moving, who you are, and your goals and things like that. So I see that very strongly. Some interesting energies coming out. So I got the Hermit. I did not realize that I like folded this card. There's a little crease in there. That's interesting. We have the Hermit and the Eight of Pentacles. Now this is really interesting. This feels to me like doing the inner work. You know, like doing inner work. This is what it feels like. It feels like doing internal work. And then I got the Two of Cups and the Knight of Swords in reverse. And immediately when I saw this combo, the Hermit, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Two and the Two of Cups, it talked about going within to do the inner work so that you can show up better in connections. Obviously, ultimately doing inner work is for you, but you have to do inner work if you're going to connect with people. And this might have to do with like coming out of some type of mental immaturity, like some type of mindset that doesn't support you, which ultimately, if there's this lack of flexibility, then a lot of the time this Knight of Swords energy would come in, because it's irrationality, it's immaturity within the mindsets and things like that, you know. So I feel like there's this energy of doing some type of inner work. We're gonna get the next row and then we'll clarify some. Doing some type of inner work that needs to be done in order to give you actual opportunity to connect with others. Very, very interesting. Very interesting, okay? So then we have the Page of Wands, the Three of Cups, the Eight of Cups, the Page of Swords, and the Six of Swords. So let's see what I'm getting here. So I feel like this is maybe like shared inspiration. This is like maybe you getting an idea to bring some people together, but then you go off on your own way. That's interesting. Let's get into this. Something inspires. Okay, well, this could be that trusting the inspiration when it comes and stuff. This is about the movement of inspiration and internal guidance. This is totally what I'm getting, and now it's tying back into that inner work. So this Page of Wands energy can get you in a place of celebrating where you are at the time, but this energy is about knowing when it's time to move. That's going to be the title of this. This energy that's coming through is about knowing when it's time to move, knowing when it's time to leave a space or something like that. That's what it is. It's in your ability to observe, okay, that my time is up here, you know, and not getting too attached to anything. These things are oftentimes rites of passage that get you to the next stage, right? And being open to these rites of passage. But to me, it feels like there's this energy of getting very stuck on certain stages and things like that and creating ideals. And then there might be some indications of, okay, my time here is up. It's time for me to leave. It's time for me to move. And that's not even to say like you're not friends with these people, but you need to know when spaces are no longer meant to be at the forefront of your life. That's how I want to say that. There's this need to know when spaces are not meant to be at the forefront of your life, or when you're meant to make a change. So say that, you know, like you've been living in a place for so long and, you know, you maybe moved to this place and you were inspired and it was guided and it was perfect. But, okay, this stage of my life calls for me to move somewhere else. I need to go and do that. That does not negate what's built here, what you celebrated here, what you've experienced here. But you need to know when it's time to move. You need to be able to listen to yourself. And only through doing this inner work, through dedicating yourself to this internal process, through being very diligent with your inner world, can you actually, first of all, experience the true connectedness of all of your circumstances. Because second of all, there's this energy of like when you are always carrying these past energies because you don't know when it's time to move, when you're always carrying them, that really takes away from your ability to fully show up in where you are, right? To be in this peaceful state, right? So there's this need to really implement this sense of flexibility into your life, because there are shifts and movements that are going to be asked of you, and you need to be able to pivot. And it's not like a pivot in the sense of like this went wrong, so now, but you need to be able to expand your ability to show up in different spaces. And that's just what I feel. Expand your ability to show up in different spaces, but I don't really like the way I'm saying that. What I really mean by this is like expanding your perception of the different spaces that you're meant to show up in, expanding your perception of the multifaceted nature of you, the places that you need to go. Like you were never meant to like stay confined to like one space in life or one way of being or whatever. You are meant to expand upon that, and that can only happen when you honor when it's time to go, when you honor when it's time to move forward, when you honor when you're being called to move, when you honor when changes are happening, unexpected changes come through. But the fact of this, though, what I'm getting so interestingly enough is, as I think of this, it's not this energy to me of like, it doesn't feel so doom and gloom. Like to me, the energy of like, you're going to just have to leave things behind. It doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like leave things behind. It feels more like it's like you need to honor your inner guidance system. But we create narratives based on these things. You can be in a space and your inner guidance system can be just trying to tell you, like in the world, and just the way that the divine is working with you, the way that God is trying to direct you to what has been intended for you. There can be this energy of like little subtle cues of like, okay, it's time to move. And you start preparing to like move your energy to a different place. But it doesn't mean that you don't hold space for that space for that place that you were. But a lot of the times, guys, we can sabotage all of the different areas that God is trying to curate in our lives because of this idea, because of this destructive idea of I want to say codependency, but that's a subset group of this, but this destructive idea of attachment. That's where we are. Okay, and you see how the codependency can tie into that, but it's about attachment. When we are attached to things, ultimately, you're gonna have to be pulled away by force. But what if you just kind of flow through all the different areas that are trying to come through? We cause destruction to things when we have to be pulled by force. All God is trying to do a lot of the time is divert our attention to elsewhere, putting our attention elsewhere, so that we can expand, so that we can, we can expand. That's really what it is. But we're like keeping ourselves small, even in the act of like, once we've been pulled away, right? Once we've been physically pulled by God, and y'all know what it's like to be pulled. Y'all know, okay? There's this energy of like, we keep ourselves in this perpetual state of lack because now I had to lose something to get here. That's actually not a narrative that resonates with me. I'm just having this moment. Does that narrative resonate with you, that you have to lose things in order to get things? Or can you continue building on and gaining and expanding? I think some of us have been in quite the limiting narrative, but do you see how that narrative, though, is a lack mindset? And you subconsciously, unconsciously perpetuate it when you hold on to things, and when you think that, when there is this unsaid notion that in order to get or move somewhere else, I have to let go of this. Not necessarily true, but you do need to be able to flow through everything that's in your life and be flexible. Be flexible. Okay, so we got a lot of majors here. We got the Chariot and the Strength card. This to me is literally the energy of like you being able to move forward with inner strength. You being able to honor your natural inclination and your natural inner knowing of when it's time to move. And this comes from a place of inner strength. Right? You can only get on that chariot and drive it through inner strength. You get on it. You're not in the circumstances, in the way that we've done things in the past. There has been this energy of we didn't get to drive. We didn't sit there. God had to pull us in a little passenger seat while we're sitting there looking out the window like this. Like, you know that little thing you do in the car when you were upset. Maybe you still do this now, but as a kid or when you're with your family, whatever. And you're just kind of like looking out the window all sad. And, that's us normally. God has been trying to teach us, I feel. The divine has been supporting us in God's intention to get us to the position where when it's time, when that alarm goes off, you're like, all right, it's time for me to hop up in my car. I'll catch y'all later. It's time for me to get behind the wheel. I'll catch y'all later. I'm being guided here. I'll catch y'all later. I'll catch this later. It takes a lot to get to that space. And then we have this Strength and Ten of Swords energy, this inner strength, and this strength in the eyes of endings. The endings don't feel so like perpetual to me. It just feels like it's literally fluidity and movement. That's what it is to me. And then we have the Lovers and we have the Hanged Man. This energy is very interesting to me. Oh, okay. Well, okay. So the Hanged Man, the Hanged One here in this deck, to me is about the new perspectives that come from where you're going. I'm trying to see, what does this Lover's energy feel like to me? It's kind of like it's eluding me a bit. It's like having a new perspective on choice. I get that, but how does that show up here? This is my process, y'all. This is how I break out energy in my own free time. It's like when I get something like this, I'll have a whole message and then I'm like, okay, but How does this add? And then that's a new level of consciousness or understanding or awareness. So we have this, sometimes this is looked at as connection. This is looked at as choice. So if we're looking at it in two different ways, and that's how I also see it. It's interchangeable to me in some ways. So if we're looking at it as connection, this is a new perspective on connection that this gives you. And I can get that. To me, that's a new perspective on what you're connected to, right? Connection doesn't happen by this holding on process. Okay. Thank y'all. Thank you. Connection doesn't happen through this process of holding on for dear life, of being attached, of how long you're able to stay in a space. This is not how connection happens. Now connection happens based on what you're guided to. Now connection happens based on what's meant for you at this time, alignment, where you're supposed to be. This is where connection happens now. But in the past, connection to some of us, this ideal of connection, if you resonate with this, then you'll probably get this ideal of connection has come from this space of how resistant you were to letting go of it, how strong of a hold you could have on it. And instead, first of all, the connections are maintained in this space when we allow ourselves to fluidly flow through these energies. And the connections are not destroyed by us having to let go. And instead, these connections show up in a way where it's like these connections are maintained and they can continue on with us. And we expand on these connections and our experience in connections. And we also add new connections and things like that, things that we're connected to. I want to emphasize that this is not specifically romance oriented, because connection is talking about things that you are authentically guided to, whether it be your career choice, your life purpose, friend groups, whatever. So it is love too, but I just want to put that out there. Connect things that you are genuinely authentically connected to, things that you are meant for. And so yeah, there's this energy of having a new perspective on connection, and then also even a new perspective on the choice that you make to move forward, and the empowerment that comes from that choice, the ability for you to actually maintain and have full control and have all the results and outcomes that you wish for when you empower that sense of choice, and that this is a choice that I'm making to move on from here, or not move on, or pivot, or be flexible, or, flow with the changes that are happening. This is a choice that I'm making. And with that choice, I'm also choosing that this is something that I would like to keep. This is something that I would like to continue expanding on, even though I need to shift my attention for now. Okay. So that energy was very nice. I really liked that. Let's see if there's any closing messages. 9 of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles, that makes the 10 of Pentacles. Planting seeds. 3 of Pentacles of collaboration. Okay. So it's like based on all of the things that you will have built up, it'll allow you to plant new seeds to collaborate with new groups and new people and new things. And it's like all the things will create this beautiful synergy, but only if you let it. But I feel like we've kind of been distorting this synergy and not allowing these different facets of our life to like work together, because we get very attached to one area. Right? We're not comfortable shifting and changing and being flexible, and knowing that we are still totally, through our focused intention, our focused energy, our connection with what's within our highest, our connection with with ourselves, our authentic, the unfoldment, realizing that we are at the forefront of that. We are empowered to do that and be in that energy. We don't realize that. And so we take away from this ability to create synergy. And I feel this, but it's really just about knowing when it's time to move on, to move forward, to shift your focus. I'm going to find a better title for this, but I feel like you guys get the energy, because it's really just about knowing when it's time to move, like knowing when it's time to shift, being open to that. Knowing when it's time to expand, knowing when there's something else calling you, and being comfortable enough with what you've built, with yourself, to go and explore those things if they're calling you. Maybe there's a stage where you have a connection with someone, but maybe, I'm just going to give an example. Maybe you've had a connection with someone, but for some reason you're being called to this path of solitude. Well, that connection is not eradicated because you're being called to solitude. But when we're in resistance to that, we have a lot more of a chance of creating destruction to what we're wanting to hold on to than we do if we're open to this ideal of solitude that's trying to come through, and also honoring what is wanted over here, honoring what naturally comes through over here. It's like we create these internal battles within ourselves that literally don't need to exist. And this is where we're learning about what it I just got the Magician, the King of Swords, what it means to actually be a conscious creator of your own reality. Because something that's been coming through for me lately has a lot to do with when you do get into alignment with your truest self, you are totally in alignment with God. And so you don't have to be so worried anymore that God isn't wanting the same things that you're wanting for you. When you are not within your most authentic self, when you're not walking that path or aligning to that path, well, yeah, now God has to do